We received some great questions. This is my partner, Lee London. I'm Michael Barish. One of the most common that we get asked as your attorneys is, how do I prove that I was in the exposure zone? Let's face it, 19, 20 years later, it's getting harder and harder. And as time goes on, God forbid someone gets cancer in 10 or 20 more years, it's really going to be very hard. So we're asking everybody, even if they're healthy now, get the proof. And we can help you. A lot of attorneys can help you, but always show that evidence to an attorney who can properly evaluate whether or not the Victim Compensation Fund will accept it. So Lee, would you tell us some of the proofs that the Victim Compensation Fund are willing to accept?
Sure. So the biggest factor that we want to make very clear is we don't want you starting this process when you become sick. We want you handling all of your proof of presence and documentation while you're healthy, and you can get into both programs. Many of the documentation that the Victim Compensation Fund and the World Trade Center Health Program require for proof of presence are employment verification letters, affidavits from someone who directly saw you in the zone, third-party affidavits,
School transcripts for the 50,000 students in the area.
Yep, and also third-party affidavits if somebody knew you were there but didn't physically see you. Many of our clients were caught in the dust cloud on 9/11 while they were traveling and commuting from work, and they were alone during that time. But the Victim Compensation Fund and the World Trade Center Health Program has required documentation to prove that you were in the zone.
But they will accept a sworn affidavit from someone who says, I worked with Lee, I went to school with Michael. You can do it, and there are these affidavits that we send our clients, about 3 pages long, and the witness signs it under oath and says with specificity when he saw the claimant, where, what they were each doing there, and that's good enough. It's not an adversarial system.
Not at all, and details are key. What did you do that day? How many times did you see them during that exposure period? So many of our clients work and live in the zone that obtaining this presence documentation now is so important. And as Michael stated before, having an attorney review the affidavit now to point out to you where details can be added, where the Victim Compensation Fund really wants to see that level of attention to what you did that day and the 8 months after, that's when it really matters.
The Victim Compensation Fund wants to find you eligible. That's the key thing. That's what I meant when I said it's not adversarial. Answer this question we get a lot. Isn't the proof that I gave the World Trade Center Health Program good enough?
We get that question every day, and the answer is both government programs require proof of presence documentation, but they have different standards. What could get you into the World Trade Center Health Program might not be enough for the Victim Compensation Fund. They have different levels of standards that they use to judge everybody's presence documentation.
For the Victim Compensation Fund, in order to be found eligible, you need to either prove that you were caught in the dust cloud on 9/11, that you spent 4 hours in the exposure zone between September 11th and September 14th, or 24 hours during the month of September, or 80 hours, which is just 2 full work weeks between 9/11 and May 30th of 2002. And if you can prove that, you're going to be eligible for compensation.
And one thing that I just wanted to add was, if you believe that you can't find anybody, if you think that nobody saw you there during that time, do not give up on these programs. We can help you obtain this proof of presence documentation.
Well, you know how we do it mostly is because if we know where they worked, we have a whole data list of other people who worked there who might remember whether or not the claimant who's looking for evidence was there with them.
Exactly. And I just spoke to a Red Cross volunteer that said that she knew nobody. I was able to search our database, find the exact cruise ship that all of the Red Cross volunteers in her category worked under, and we were able to find somebody that remembered her going from the cruise ship and bringing supplies to Ground Zero, and her realizing that somebody saw her, somebody acknowledged the work she did on 9/11, really made and paved the way for her to join these programs.
To paraphrase our friend Jon Stewart, access what you are entitled to. Get an attorney to help you get what you deserve. Thank you.